been a wife, but let me tell you something. Being a wife is making sure you have the soap powder. The wife is making sure you might throw those clothes in the washing machine. Being a wife is not coming to pick up your drawers after you. That is
Amen. Who said you had to pick up the drawers? That's what said y'all want to go do it. This is my point here with that. Yeah. We always act like that's such a big thing. Like, I know, especially for the women. Wait a minute. Especially for the women that got kids. Y'all should be cleaning the house anyway. Y'all should be cooking anyway. So you cook.
Great catch. I'm a great wife. I'm a great this. And it's like that hasn't been validated.
All these single girls are yours too. I don't know.
The one thing that I'm seeing is that when you're dealing with a grown-ass man,
there it is.
He has a vision and a purpose for his life.
Thanks.
What he wants in the future. And what I see is that a lot of these modern women don't want to fall into and play their part in that purpose and in that vision because they have their own purpose and their own vision. Not sure responsibility to motivate a man.
Right.
A man should have his own motivation, his own direction. Your job is to inspire. It's a complete difference. I think a lot of ladies get a man.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Kandid Konvos. I'm your host, Quay Price. We got Chloe on deck. Say what's up to the people, Chloe.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Man, shout out to y'all for joining us tonight. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Likes are free. Hit that like button. Also, hit that share as well. Let's say we want to get this great content out to as many of our people as possible. Let's say shout out to all my YouTube folks, my Facebook folks checking in tonight. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're coming in from so we know who's here with us on the episode tonight. And let me get right on into the rotation real quick so we can get some stuff out the way. All right. So here's the link to the panel right here. You can drop this in your Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge. If you're coming into an Apple device, you got to use Safari to come in. But yeah, drop this in your browser. Join us on the panel. You do have the ability to cut your camera off if you choose. But we always encourage you to keep your camera on for a better show, better engagement. Plus, it saves you on a little bit of that typing because I know y'all like to drop them comments. So yeah, we also, in addition to here on the screen here, we also have this link in all of the chat feeds. So you can catch it at the Kandid Konvos page on YouTube and Facebook, or you can shoot me a message, or you can catch it at the Quay Price page on Facebook as well. So yeah, just let us know if you need the link. We'll get it to you however we got to get it to you. We'll leave it up here on the screen for a little bit as we get into the conversation. Shout out to J.U. Griffin in the building, checking in early. Say hello, everyone. Much love, peace, and respect. Appreciate you, J.U. Appreciate you, J.U. Appreciate you also sending over the content, man. Like I said, we're gonna grab up some of that for the next one, man. So be ready, be on the lookout for that. Our Jizzle in the building. Threw the hands up with a thumbs up. What's going on with you, our Jizzle? Appreciate you joining us tonight. YouTube holding us down. Shout out to Eva Wright in the building. She said, hey, y'all, what's going on, Eva Wright? Appreciate you joining us tonight, as always. Donovan in the building as well. He said, what up, though? And good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. What up, though? To all my Detroit folks out there. All right. Y'all had me running that down. See, that was a little bit of work right there. But yeah, listen, everybody watching right now, hit that like button for us. Hit that like button. If you're watching right now on YouTube or Facebook, hit that like button for us. We need that. We need them lights. All right. So let's drop this link down for a minute. Let us know if you need the link. Okay. I don't know, Chloe, you want to get right on into this? It's going to be interesting night right here.
Let's get into it.
It's going to be interesting night. Interesting night. Hold on. Let's see. Eva Wright said it costs to be the boss. Wait a minute. I see Eva Wright coming right out the gate with it. I ain't mad.
They got that smoke early.
Yeah. She coming right out the gate. I was gonna mess with Eva Wright about something, but I ain't gonna do it right now. I had something to do with some pineapples and some other. I ain't gonna mess with it right now. We'll come back to that later. All right. Topic for tonight. Are men getting soft? We run that back. Topic for tonight. Are men getting soft? Okay. So I got some interesting stuff came my way. Yeah, I got some interesting stuff came my way. So yeah, we're gonna get right on into this. I got a couple of these came my way around this same topic. Yeah, we're gonna get right on into this.
And this girl, and she keep asking, what you doing? I'm like, man, I'm at the mall. I'm about to get me some cologne and shit. She was like, oh, okay. And what you gonna be doing after that? I had to go ahead and block her, bro. Because what you're not gonna do is you're not finna keep asking me what you doing, and then when I tell you what I'm doing, and I say I'm about to buy me some cologne, you don't send me half the money. That's unacceptable. That's just low effort. And I don't care that I didn't ask you for the money. You should just know. You should read my mind. You should understand that if I'm buying me something, why aren't you chipping in? Why aren't you pitching in to help me get whatever it is that I'm trying to buy? You're worthless right now. You see what I'm saying? And I really don't feel bad about it, because why are you in my life? Why are you here? And then this really your third day in a row texting me, asking me what I'm doing. I tell you what I'm doing. You don't make the efforts to make plans. You don't make the efforts to try to see me. I got to get you out of here. Because honestly, I do everything by myself anyway. So if you're not adding to my life immediately when we first meet, it's like, why are you here? I got to get you gone. I'm in my soft guy era, and I won't accept nothing less.
Drizzle.
Man, just hold on. Just hold on.
You can't make this shit up.
Drizzle.
You can't make this shit up. Y'all heard it.
Okay, that was that. So man, y'all sent me a couple of these. Hold on, man. Y'all coming with it on this one. I see. Hold on.
No, you drizzle men are actually being dead serious. You're not making a mockery of any sprinkle gals. You're simply projecting, right? Because sprinkle gals, we don't have to make anything up. We can just live the experience and then talk about it, because it is a reality for us in our dating experience, right? Because we don't seek men, the men seek us, and we pick and choose which man is worthy of being with us.
This woman is literally panicking about her justification for sprinkle being demolished by drizzle. And it is hilarious to watch, because drizzle is literally men flipping the script. I have seen videos where men are literally taking a woman's video and saying the same exact thing. But there's so many women that are still refusing to see it. Ladies, these men are flipping the script in order for you to see it, to open your eyes, for you to realize that the things that you have been expecting of men have been outrageous.
Okay. I see we got a whole bunch of folks that's jumped on the panel. So we got JR, we got Joe, we got Vince on the panel tonight. Let me shift this around a little bit real fast. Okay. All right. So that was video 1 and 2. So we had a couple comments come in real quick. Man, Eva Wright said, "Stop it, sir." Okay. She says, "Sir, ma'am." Okay. See, J.U. Griffin said, "Let's see, he has to be trolling, LOL." Let's see, Donovan said, "Skid alert." Kenyatta said, "It's the satire for me." Let's see, Eva Wright said, "Let's see, it's ridiculous." See, shout out to Rodney checking in from Lansing. He said, "What up, though? I ain't soft, LOL." Appreciate that comment right there. Kenyatta also said, "The men want the ladies to see how this mess sounds." Okay, so like I said, we get exposed to a lot of content on this show. I get a lot of content sent, and this is just another thing to add to the content, right? So there's I guess I'll call it a trend going around right now where men are now essentially going against this whole, or going against what used to be sprinkle. So there was a young lady who went viral, telling the ladies what to do out here, I guess how to handle these men or how to manipulate, whatever she was telling them. But her tagline was sprinkle. So now the gentlemen have got into it, and their tagline is now drizzle. So essentially, like the young lady said in video number 2, the guys are literally saying the exact opposite of things that ladies are saying today, that essentially they expect from men and so forth. And to the point of the video, at least from what I can see, it seems like the men want the ladies to understand how ridiculous some of these things are. So I think it is worthy of a conversation because there's a couple issues around this particular thing. I think it's worthy of a conversation. Like I said, we'll get into that as we get into it. But I want to go to the panel. I just put a couple of the comments up there, but I want to go to the panel. So what do you guys see? What you thinking? Is it crazy? Does it make sense? Does it not? Let's get into this conversation. So I saw Joe. I saw you come off mute, man. Do you want to say something real quick, man?
I've been laughing for the last 5 minutes. This is the first time I heard of this. I needed that. I had a long day at work today too, and I was like, "What is this?" And the way he kept a straight face the entire time. It started off like innocent, and he just kind of like gradually started sounding more and more ridiculous. Just the way the women kind of build up the momentum to, "Oh, okay, that's reasonable." And then it's like, "Wait a second," and then he gets to like, "Wait a second." So he did the same progression that women do, and it sounds crazy that they responded to the man the same way that man responded to the women who made the same claims and asking for the same things. See, it doesn't sound right when it's coming from when they hear themselves, but they can't hear themselves because they're busy talking. So when they're making these demands and these claims and all these different things, when they hear it parroted back at them, all of a sudden it sounds crazy. Ooh, that's exactly the point. It's supposed to make you think that it sounds crazy, but he's just repeating what you said. It doesn't, of course, obviously it's satire, but I just think whoever made up that whole play on words, that's clever. Drizzle. Interesting. And of course, you had the woman who comes afterwards, and she has her 2 cents to add to it, and it's like, yeah, you're actually arguing with yourself because he was playing you. You are the character he was playing. So you're mad at yourself at him playing you. You're the reflection that he's showing you. So who are you really mad at? Who are you really upset at? It's just it's the perfect reflection, the perfect mirror for the women who are following that particular woman. I know what they're talking about. She's been around for a long time. And and it wasn't even popular. like when she did it, it was kind of like, oh, that's silly. Then it became, it just goes to show how powerful um that sort of like it became a cultural thing. That drizzle, sprinkle thing. It's like then they go look it up. Then they listen to the woman who made up the word, and then they listen to what she's saying. Now maybe they haven't even thought about the things she was preaching about at any point in time, but now they're convinced because of her preaching is what it is. So she's indoctrinating a lot of these young women to believing that that's a normal thought pattern for American women to have, as if it wasn't bad enough already. She just added
Right.
fuel to the fire. So when they hear that drizzle, oh, sprinkle, that sounds good. I wonder where that came from. And they follow the breadcrumbs and then they listen to her content and they're gone just like that. And they don't even see it coming. It happens gradually. Oh, that's entertaining. It's entertaining. And it's kind of like, you just start talking like it's like rap music. You might listen to some Tupac, like I like the way that sound. Then you start saying the N-word. Then you start doing N-word stuff. Then you start being like Tupac. Then you start acting like the gangster. It's like, where did this come from? It started just from a seed in the mind from the music you listen to. It started off as entertainment, as fun, the game. That's the price that they pay. So I thought that was an interesting commentary.
You make a good point, man. How essentially contagious the stuff can be. But yeah, we're gonna get on into this. I think we definitely have a problem here. Let me slide over to JR. I saw you come off mute. JR, you still there, man?
Yes, hello everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. You want to comment on the topic, man?
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, obviously, I think it was Joe that just speaking. He said that this is a problem going on in America or whatnot. Obviously, I'm from England, and this is the same situation that we, experience over here. That kind of mindset, mentality, like it's the same over here, man. So ain't no different.
So all the way over in England, you dealing with the same thing.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Same exact shit.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, man. I didn't even know that. I appreciate that. I said we learn something new every day. Let me slide over to Chloe. Chloe, you want to say something? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so okay. So thanks for I'm so glad you said that, JR, because over here in the US, we tend to think that it's a Western woman mentality, right? Obviously, this is mentality that's permeating the mindsets of women here in the States. So to find out that this is basically trickling and it is expanding, and why wouldn't it? I guess we should assume that because the internet is for everybody. So we all are seeing and watching the same things. Videos are going viral because they're being watched all over the world. So this sprinkle movement, the feminist movement, the modern woman mindset, and that whole thing, if we're experiencing it here, we have to think that it's not just exclusive to us here in the States. I just think it's funny because these women are getting I watched a few videos today when I knew we were going to talk about the subject, and these women are really upset. Like there are women now, I saw a woman, she's trying to shame men now. Her perspective is, why would you copycat off for another man? Like, so now you guys are just like copycatting over your off of your bros. I mean, I thought you were men. Like, why would you be copying? Why would you be following? And I think that's so crazy. I mean, gaslighting 101. Like you guys were literally copying off of this woman talking about sprinkle. But it's okay for you guys to do that. But then when a man gets an idea and men gravitate towards it, now somehow let's attack their manhood. So it's crazy to me because as often as we're as women, and I'm not in that group, but I'll say as women, as often as we attack masculinity and we call men narcissists and we call men toxic, imagine being a woman who follows other women constantly, but then will turn around and tell a man who has decided to team up with other men for a specific purpose that he's a follower. And I mean, I feel the whole drizzle movement. I feel two different ways. I'm conflicted about the whole drizzle movement, but I will say this, like, just for the simple fact that it's turning women, it's like basically handing women a mirror and saying, look at yourself. You look and sound ridiculous. For that reason, I'm with it. But then I also, on the flip side, will say this though. Men have traditionally been uncomfortable with putting their name and soft in the same sentence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because of this movement now, and I get it, I understand the reason why men are doing it. Okay, I get that part. But women have just now made you guys more comfortable on the flip side to put the term soft in the same conversation with masculinity.
Can I say something? Yeah, like you're not wrong. You're not wrong in like not even you personally, but you know, with that sprinkle thing, whatever the ladies are coming up with, yeah, I don't think they're even wrong with what they're saying or even the idea or even the mentality, right? I'm never saying they're even wrong for that. Cool. Now, obviously, I've tuned into a couple of shows or whatnot and just stayed there and watched a few shows, right? And obviously, Chloe and sorry, sir, how do you say your name? Is it Qua? Is it
Quay Price?
Quay Price, yeah. So obviously, I thought I always see both of you and whatnot on the show. So I thought, you know what? Let me go on the Instagram and see who you were exactly. Now, obviously, I come across that. Obviously, you're married, right? Okay. Now, this is the question I want to ask. With what the ladies are asking for or what they're saying, right? You know, we sound like it's a bit crazy or whatever it is. Cool. Would it be crazy for the women to ask? So it's right for the women to ask for that, right? For the men to have that kind of have that mindset. Now, would it be wrong for men to just ask for respect from women? Just on a basic level, respect.
Absolutely not.
So this drizzle thing now, where the men are responding, yeah, is basically it's hold up the mirror to women to make them look at, okay, cool. You're asking for all of this, right? But here's what we're asking for. You can get that. We're willing to give you that. But what are you actually willing to give in return for us to get that? Because like I said, you're both married. Now, Miss Chloe, let me ask you this question, right? Whatever these ladies are on, you're probably on that, right? But there's a right way to go about it. I'm pretty sure your man does that for you. Well, guess what? I believe you respect your man 100%. So it doesn't matter if we can call your man soft or whatever it is. You respect your man because you're willing to respect him, and he's willing to do because you respect him. And that's the difference of, you know, obviously I don't know how old you are, but obviously, you know, you're older than me. I'm 28. These ladies here of my generation don't have a basic respect for men. So hence why we have to hold the mirror up and make you look at yourself and so you see exactly how stupid you sound, because me asking you for respect, I'm stupid, right? Does that make sense? I'm only asking for one thing, respect. One thing, respect. We haven't got to other things that we're even asking for, but we've seen what they're coming off with, but we're just asking for respect. Can we even get that? But you want me to use my mind and think about you. But you can't even respect me on a basic level. That's why we got to hold the mirror up today. So it's not about the men being soft. We are just acclimatizing to what women want men to be. Because if you're not going to follow our lead, the men have to acclimatize. Okay, we're going to conform to your standards now.
So JR, so let me respond to that. So that was partially the direction that I wanted to take this, right? So you just said that essentially these guys will you know, there's going to be some conforming going on in there now. Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem. See this sprinkle whole agenda that popped off of this whole trend. The fact that guys, now let me start by saying this. I do think that sometimes we do have to hold the mirror up to people so they can see how they sound and they can hear what they can see how they're behaving and they can hear how they sound. So I agree with that piece. But the piece that I don't agree with is guys conforming. Yep, and see, that's my problem. See, to your point, you make a valid point. Men want respect. But as men, we also have to sit down and say, is this the right way to go about getting respect? And see, that's what we're seeing right now with this drizzle thing. Even though the message or the direction, I think is accurate. Is this the masculine way to go about this?
That's a great question.
And I think that's where the problem comes in. See, what is happening now, and this is why the show is titled, Are Men Getting Soft? See, we would not typically see men drizzling. Now, we might see some of this nonsense. I'm going to be honest. We might see some of this nonsense from some of these young ladies out here, especially some of these immature ladies out here. But this is not something that you typically would see from a masculine man. See, a masculine man, even though he demands his respect, he's going to go about it differently other than drizzling. You see what I'm saying? So see, I think that whole conforming thing, I think that's a part of our problem. Yep, I think as men, we have to be very careful falling into this type of stuff. Yep, some of this stuff we do, we got to classify it as nonsense and let folks have that. Yeah, but the fact that we are now out here participating in some of this nonsense that's coming from folks with some very skewed, questionable mindsets, I think that's where our actual issue lies.
Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying, right? But if you would ask majority of the young guys, because obviously there's this key word, right? Men are soft. But for the Gen Z, I think it is, right? Gen Z is the way it is. I'll be that, right? We have broken away from our dads, uncles, granddads, and whatnot because we deem you like to be the soft guys because you're the ones that conform to the women. Because we are not conforming to the women. We're not getting married. We're not doing as they want us to do, X, Y, Z. If you know what I mean? So we're actually breaking away and we're looking at the older guys and we're thinking, hold on, you lot are the softer guys. But we are getting questioned for not doing the things that women want us to do.
I got you.
Does that make sense? Hence, I'm going back to respect. So, like I said, Quay, are you soft if your woman respects you and you do things that she wants? No, because you're getting something out of it. She's getting something out of it. Does that make sense?
I got you.
Yeah, you get where I'm going with that, yeah? So that's what I'm saying. We are not soft because we're not conforming to the women. We're just playing the game, but we're not conforming to their standards.
I get what
Do
you're
you
saying.
not think, JR, that by playing the game that you eventually sort of get played at some
Say that
point?
again, sorry.
Like, do you not think that by men choosing to play their game, that you, as a result of doing so, end up getting played for yourself? Because at first it's kind of like you're observing, you're playing it, and you know you're playing it, but we all know game heads who play a game and they eventually become consumed by the game they're playing. So it's no longer an objective reality; it becomes the reality. So I think that's the line. I think Quay is making a distinction is that right now it's all fun and games. Right now it's entertaining. Right now it's funny, but there will come a time where you would literally have guys thinking that way, believing that way, and moving that way. It will no longer become just a joke, because words have power, words have meaning. It's insidious. It buries deep into your mind, and And the more they repeat these mantras, like right now, that guy, he's saying what he's saying. But if he does like 30 or 40 or 50 of those videos, I guarantee at some point he's going to start embodying the things that he used to joke about. So now he becomes that soft guy. He becomes that drizzle guy without him even knowing it. It's it's just the most like, it's just something that I understand that happens as a result. That's why certain music I listen to, I know not to listen to it because I know I might like the beat, but the words will get to me. And then I become like that. I start thinking that way. Like I never really wanted to kill birds because I'm listening to heavy metal. I never wanted to beat on women. That's because I'm listening to hard rap. So, but it happens over a period of time. So I think that's right now. It's kind of like it's funny. But it's dangerous because it's playing with fire. Because he is right. We are playing into what they're doing, showing the foolishness of it. But at the same time, what is the price that man will end up paying as a result of playing that game? You end up becoming the game that you're playing. So if it's going to switch on them. If this goes on for long enough, that's how that whole sprinkle thing happened in the first place. It was also a game to women. Women did not take that seriously. She did this like years ago. And then it just became part of the culture. Now women who didn't used to believe in sprinkle, who had traditional women, now they start embodying this thing. They want to become a part of that whatever that social thing that happens that takes place because of word. It's power in the things we say and that we repeat to ourselves over and over again and that we hear over and over again. It's inevitable. So if men don't cut it, it should never started. So it's sad that it started because it may then lead down a darker road. And we start seeing guys actually leaving they're soft or they should embody that, or it's bad. It's bad for the long term. Funny in the short term, entertaining now, but 5-10 years down the line, you go be like, see, we saw that coming 10 years ago.
Yeah. And go on, boss. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Marcel, let me grab this comment. Then I'm going to circle up to Vince. I don't know if you want to say. So let me grab this comment real quick, Vince. Let's see. J.U. Griffin said it's completely ludicrous to ask someone who is not your spouse to fund your lifestyle. I might spend some money on you, but I'm not taking care of you if we're not married. Yeah, no, J.U. Griffin, no. So this comment is spot on. Yep, and like I said, I think this is where, well, it's not a think. I know this is where this counter trend of this drizzle is coming from, right? So some of the stuff that is being communicated out here is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, some of the stuff that I see, or some of these expectations and requirements that I see, it's ridiculous. Yeah, going back to video number 1, and the young man is saying that, he's going out to the mall to get some cologne, and the young lady calls him and he's like, hey, basically, you ain't trying to put no money on this cologne I'm out here buying. Like, you're not trying to, like, I've seen numerous accounts where young ladies have said stuff like that. They mentioned to a man that they dating, or a man that they met, that they're going to get their nails done. And if he doesn't suggest, after she mentions she's going to get her nails done, that he's willing to pay for it, then he's a broke dude. And I see that type of stuff all the time. It's not just one-offs. I see that all the time in a lot of this content that I see out here. So like I said, when you actually sit down and look at the ridiculousness of some of this stuff that's being communicated, it's wild. So I can understand why or how we got to a point that we are at today, where we're now drizzling out here, right? But I think we got to take a step back. Yeah, we have to take a step back, and I'm going to direct this question straight at the ladies. So for all the ladies who are watching this or who are going to see this, as I always ask, how do y'all want this to go? Because we've gotten to a point now where a lot of these things, and some of this stuff is ridiculous, with a lot of these things that are being communicated out here. How much this man has to make. He needs to be making $500,000. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. He needs to be spending $300-400 on a first date. He got to be taking me on activity dates and got to be flying me out and all this stuff that's out here circulating. Now we're at a point where guys are saying, no, I'm not with it. And I just have to ask myself, and I want to ask the ladies, did you think, or how did you think that this was going to go? Yeah, did you think that this was going to make the men come running to you? Did you think this was going to make the dudes run away from you? What was the ultimate goal? Or what is the ultimate goal? Because this stuff is still circulating. Yeah, what is the ultimate goal? Yep, and at the end of the day, I think it has had a reverse or negative effect on the whole dating space. I think this is why we talk about this P in the dating pool. Like, I think it has had a whole negative effect because now I think a lot of these guys today, they got a bad taste in their mouth, just to be honest with you. And I think some of them have gotten to the point where they don't even want to be bothered. Yep, they don't want to be bothered. And I think some of this sprinkle stuff is a last ditch attempt to basically say, either we going to turn this corner and get this figured out, or y'all can go on and be over there, and us fellas, we going to be over here. Yep, basically contributing to the divide that's already going on today. So I think we really need to think about that and what some of this stuff that we are spewing out here on social media and through these channels is really doing. And is it getting us the results that we think that it was going to get originally? Let me get some more of these comments and I'm going to come back to the panel. Kenyatta said, let's see, the real women knew better to fall for the sprinkle. No, that's true. That's true. And see, that supports Joe's point. Yep, just stay away from it and it doesn't even become a part of your reality. Let's see. Donovan said, I believe this new man against woman epidemic is the new vice for population control. No doubt.
That's the comment right there.
Yeah, that's the one. No doubt, which we know that's in there. We know that's in there. Let's see. Eva Rice said, all I can tell you is I am not teaching our daughters to be like that. And I explain why. And that's important as well. Yeah, as Vince mentions all the time, we got kids coming after us. Yeah, so we got to be concerned about how we're leaving this thing for the little young ones that's coming after us who will be following in our footsteps because they're going to have to date at some point too. See, Kenyatta also said, I would love to say this is a young woman's mentality. And unfortunately, the 40+ women are falling for the sprinkle. Yeah, it's widespread. Definitely not a contained issue, if you will. All right, let me come back to the panel. Chloe, Vince. I know Vince. Let me check on you first, man. I know you didn't say anything. You want to say anything, or you good, man?
I'm kind of good because I think this is out my wheelhouse. But as far as the sprinkle, you know, I come from a generation that ladies don't need to ask. A man is going to find where you need. He's going to provide that, whatever it is. So a lot of these ladies can't get it, so that's why they're asking.
Ah, he got it.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if a man calls a lady and she likes the man, he said, man, I sure would like something to eat. If she the type of man he wants, she like, hey, babe, I'm about to make this plate for you. Oh, hey, I sure need me some underwear. What size you wear? I'm going to go to, she going to find out. She going to go over his house and see he got some cheap towels. And she going to get him some nice towels. She going to get him some 1,000 thread sheets. Because she going to see a need just like a man. He going to see, okay, she getting her nails done. I want her nails to look a certain way. I'm gonna go ahead and spend that. But she don't have to ask. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these chicks, they never had that. Because my thing is asking what their baby daddy did for them. And if he ain't doing that, then why you expect the next dude? So a lot of them feel like they done been used and mistreated, and now they going to change the game up, and they wind up looking stupid.
Oh.
They wind up begging at the club for a drink. You don't have to ask me if I'm going to buy you a drink. If I wanted to buy you a drink, I would have just bought you a drink. Right. You going to buy me a drink? No, I'm not. Because if you'd have been quiet long enough, you might have got a drink. So I think that's the issue nowadays. But I don't believe in that drizzle. I'm gonna be a man always. I'm just gonna pass that one by. I ain't gonna be sitting up there trying to change the roles and trying to nah. I'm gonna stand on my square and be a masculine man, and I'm gonna leave them at the bar begging for drinks.
That's real. That's real. Let's go ahead, Chloe.
I got a question for JR, but he addressed something earlier, and I really want to kind of dive into it, right? You mentioned that the previous generation of men And I don't know if you're talking about, so you're Gen Z, so I don't know if you're talking about like X, or you're talking about like with the millennials. Like I'm not really sure which generation you speak of when you say that the generation before you, you feel like they gave in to women, and now your generation is kind of like, we're not going to do that. My question is this, right? A lot of the women that I'm seeing, and this is backing up something that I saw Kenyatta say in the comments. A lot of these women they're young women. They're definitely women, Gen Zers for sure. But there's a lot of women in my age group. I'm in my 40s, right? So there's a lot of women in my age group that are like, they are very much sprinkle sprinkle. Like these
Yeah.
women, and they're older than me. Like
Yeah.
I'm 42. I don't care about telling my age. But these women are like older than I am.
Yeah.
And they running around sprinkle sprinkle. And I'm just trying to understand, like, if that's, and these women do not have a man. Some of them have never been married. And so I guess my question to you is, do we actually think that this is that's really the root of the issue, that the men before, because that would have been the men in their generation, that would
Yeah.
have been the men that they would have been, courting or dating or going after or whatever. And these women have never been married. Some of them have been in relationships, some of them have not been in long-term relationships, and they're still running around here talking sprinkle sprinkle. So is it really that these men have almost kind of like spoiled the women, and now you guys have this to deal with? Or are we looking at the mentalities just evolving, and now we're seeing sprinkle sprinkle? Like,
Mm.
what do you think about that?
Yeah. So yeah, because I kind of want to ask the question right earlier, something to do with kind of, let's say, chivalry, right? Once upon a time, there's a code amongst men, and the women had their own code. Yeah. And I think it was Mr. Vince mentioned something along them lines about men being men and women being women, or something like that, right? So, like I said, once upon a time there was a code between men and women. Like I was saying earlier, just the basic respect. And I think Mr. Vince mentioned something about the woman would do it or something like that. And that's what I mean. Something about the woman wouldn't shouldn't need to ask. If you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the woman wouldn't need to ask the man for his services, but the man wouldn't have to demand respect from the woman because the basic understanding was there. Now, even though the basic understanding was there, yes, the bad eggs still did exist. If you know what I mean? The bad eggs still did exist in every generation that's gone by. But as time's gone on, what's happened is it start with the whole feminism coming in and whatnot. Yes, has it affected everybody along the line? Yes, it has. But the difference is it's that with this contagious, feminism going on, what's happened is that, yeah, with you, Chloe, right? Yes, you say you're 42, and yeah, you still live the during the whole feminism, era and whatnot. Yeah, even if you do live within that confinement of feminism, you still chose to go down a different route. Does that make sense? You still chose to respect men. You still chose to do this and do whatnot, what men traditionally would expect. And hence why I said, if you're going to give your husband that, he's going to give you whatever you demand. If you know what I mean? Now, as time's gone on, I believe the whole sprinkle sprinkle, like you said, the older women, 40s and whatnot, yeah, they did exist. Well, what's happened now is it's that there's a lot more that are out here in this 2024. Now, we might say, yeah, for the older women that 40s, 50s, 60s and whatnot, yeah, maybe because, single, widowed or whatever it is. So they just chose, you know what, let me go down that route because they was in a relationship for far too long or whatever it was. Cool. But in the situation that we're in now, is so bad that I would say this, right? For men that have daughters, right? that are, let's say, 22 onwards, right? Only the Lord knows what she is doing if you believe you raised your daughter right. Let me say that. Only the Lord knows what your daughter is doing if you believe you raised her right. You don't know what she's doing out here. That's what I'm trying to say. That's how bad it is. Where, like I said, basic respect for men they haven't got, let alone for themselves. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I said. It's not that men don't want to do the things that women are asking for. Men want to do that, but there's a right way to do it. You know what I mean? But like I said, Quay caught the right women. There's not a lot of right women out here my age.
Yes. So okay. So I understand. Hold on one second. I gotta just seeing somebody pop up. Beans, what's going on, man? How you doing? Can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I got you.
I just seen you pop up, man. Do you want to say anything real quick, man, before I get into this? Or you good?
No. I really want to come up. I got a few minutes before I joined another podcast. I saw you all were having a dope conversation. It's an eclectic panel. Black people looking good on screen. I want to make sure I show my face to support that every chance I get.
No, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, do you want to say anything? You chilling right now, man?
Yeah, just I'm gonna just check you out for a few moments because the sprinkle thing, like I was just googling it because I've been hearing it and I don't even know what it means, right? And I'm looking at it and the girl says that it means like blessings or bless your heart. I'm like, well, I still don't even understand, right? So I don't even want to respond to that.
No, I got you. Yeah. So essentially, just to quick summarize, man. Basically, you have a group of men out here now that essentially is reversing some of the things that they hear from women. So you got men, you have ladies talking about, if a guy takes them out on the first date, they looking for him to take her to some 5-star restaurant, spend all this money and so forth. So the guys are essentially doing skits and showing that in reverse. So they're saying the exact same thing that women say today because they want people or they want young ladies to understand how crazy and how ridiculous some of these things sound that they're expecting of these men today. So that's really what this whole sprinkle, well, it's not sprinkle, it's the drizzle movement is what they call it, but it's based off the old sprinkle trend that was rolling, when a young lady was circulating that a little while ago. So that's really what it is. But let me circle back to something that JR said. So JR, I will say this. I think a part of the issue as well is, and I'm gonna put it this way because I can only put it one way. Men today do not move how they used to. Yep, and I think what that has done is that has opened the door for a lot of people to try to or make an attempt to redefine what a man is.
Yeah.
Yep. See, men used to move a certain way. Men used to live and bask in their masculinity. Men used to thrive off of taking care of families. You know what I'm saying? Making commitments to young ladies, creating legacies and building. But today, we see all types of variations going on. Yep, just even using the whole sprinkle thing as an example. Yep, a masculine man from past, he's not participating in this nonsense. Yeah, let me just keep it real. He's not participating in this nonsense because at the end of the day, he got other business to handle. Yeah, he's going to take a position of if you can't align with what I'm doing or what I got going on, let me slide you over to the side. But see, now we'll participate in this type of stuff. We'll give it steam. You know what I'm saying? We'll give it energy. And it keeps these things going. Yep. And I think, like I said, where we're going wrong in this situation is we're going to have to get to the point as men and make a declaration. Yep. And if you don't align with what I got going on, then let me go and let you go. Yep. Because at the end of the day, to Vince's point, a lot of these things are coming from young ladies who ain't even had it before. Yeah, they ain't never even experienced it before. But if we got to be honest about this thing, a lot of these things are based on people projecting. Yeah, they projecting on the fact that they've made a lot of bad decisions in their life and stuff didn't turn out how they wanted it to turn out, especially when it comes to relationships in that space. So then we'll see these sprinkle situations popping up. Yep, and then you have the men out of frustration for what's going on, and because things are not lining up how they want them to line up, then we'll see the response with the drizzle. And see, that's not what that's supposed to look like. Yep, at the end of the day, if a lot of these gentlemen sat down, focused on building themselves, being the best version of themselves, they wouldn't even have time to be playing with this stuff. And then at the same time, if those men did focus on getting themselves to their best version and getting themselves together, at least in my opinion, that's going to weed out a lot of these nonsense young ladies to begin with. So yeah, we really got to think about the outcomes that we want to see. Yep, I understand where these gentlemen are coming from with this trend, right? But at the end of the day, is this going to yield what we think that is going to yield?
So if I ask you this question, right?
Hold on one sec, JR. Let me just let Beans respond. No, he just hopped on. Go ahead, Beans.
So yeah, I think you may be right about the outcome, but I think that you're asking too much of men.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, so when we say, I've been in this YouTube space for about 3 years now. And I always ask these guys, what do you mean when you say be on your purpose, be the best version of yourself, make sure you this, make sure you that. And honestly, when it's all said and done, people are usually just talking about money. That's usually what they're talking about. Just get yourself to a point where you're so financially successful that you feel like you don't have to deal with a certain caliber of women. This is illogical, right? So if there's one grocery store, imagine there's one grocery store, it's the only one, and I need fruit, and 70% of the fruit is, let's just say, a little bad, right? You know how sometimes the grapes be a little warped, the bananas be a little, brown or whatever, right? I'm not going to not eat fruit. I need fruit. So I'm not going to not eat it. I'm just going to try to pick the best of the worst. And that's all you can actually expect from men when they have to pick from the best of the worst. There's no real delineation between wives and whores at this point. There's no real, discrepancy between the two. Not that if you come to my channel, you hear me say all the time, I rock with single moms and I rock with whores, right? So I don't have anything against them. But it's just that I think so we try to pretend as if all men, and I'm saying all intentionally, right? All men can make it to 6 figures. Not understanding that if they do, then that'll just be the average at that point. And then 6 figures won't be as much as we think it is now, right? So that's not an answer. Then what? You want them to all take the same standard to say they're not going to deal with a certain type of woman. So they're not going to have sex at all? Of course they are. And then sometimes when they have sex, guess what they're going to do? Produce children. And then those children are going to become what? Products of single mother homes. There's no answer for this that doesn't begin with women self-correcting.
Okay.
Let me say something to that, Quay.
Go ahead. Chloe right after this. Go ahead, Vince.
As the elder here on the panel, I totally disagree with you, my brother. And the reason we get you, it don't have to be 100,000. Teachers don't make $100,000. So let's get away from this. You got to make 100,000 by getting yourself together. That means when you leave your mama's house, you get your own house and don't move in with your girlfriend. And that's what most of our sons do. Oh, well, I need her to help me pay 50-50. No, you stay at home till you can get your own place. Don't be driving her car till you get your own car. The problem is men want it easy. They don't want to sacrifice. They want it for free.
Mr. Vince.
And I've been there before. I understand what it is, but I tell my son, don't you ever go live with a woman. Don't you? But see, we don't want to do that because we thinking, okay, well, if she pay half the rent and I pay half the rent, we good. But then you don't get respected. And you you don't eat. You don't eat. You sacrifice until you can buy what you can afford to get. There's some good women out here, but us as men got to be in our purpose and on our grind. So I don't believe that, my brother. I think there are some good women out here, but us as men, we got to stand up as men and do what we're supposed to do instead of looking these women to help us. That's what we're looking for them to do. We leave our mama's house and we go live at her house. That's most of these young 19, 20-year-olds. They go in to stay with her at her apartment.
19 to 20?
Yeah, 19, 20, 20, yeah.
Mr. Vince,
they going to stay with their girlfriend. They don't have their own place.
That's real. Let me let Chloe get in on that. Go ahead, Chloe. Let's get on in that too. Go ahead.
I just want to take a female perspective in there. Just to kind of piggyback on what Beans was saying. Like I get I'm glad that Vince touched on the purpose a little bit, but I'm maybe Quay, maybe you'll touch on it a little bit more because from a female perspective, purpose. If you really understand purpose, because I'm a female, women have purpose too, right? And it's our purpose isn't solely a man, right? Just like a man's purpose isn't solely a woman, and a man's purpose isn't money either. Like I do also, because I'm in these podcast streets too. We've been doing this for a few years ourselves, and I do see a lot of men speaking about men being on their purpose, and a lot of times it does equate to money. But I think that when you really understand what purpose is, you understand that it's not money. When you understand what purpose really is, not saying you can't have money. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that it's not money. If you think that being on your purpose means, and I'm not talking about you, Beans, but if you think that being on your purpose means money, then you don't understand what purpose is at all, right? Also, I would say from a female perspective, agreeing with Vince, I know I'm married, and when people hear I'm married, they like to kind of like push me to the side. What does she know? She doesn't know what she's talking about. But just because I'm married doesn't mean that I'm not in proximity to women who are unmarried and who, have their war stories and have their trauma stories. And I think that we need to understand that we are being shown a narrative very heavily on social media. And I just want to remind people that the women who have it together, the women who really want to be in a relationship, these women are not the ones that are on social media with the sprinkle stuff. These are not the women that, you pull up on the street with a microphone. But of course, these are the women that we see, right? These are the women that love getting on social media and telling all their business. But those are not the women that you guys would really actually want to be with, right? So I would say we sometimes when we're deep in this podcast game or we're deep in social media, especially if we do it as a business or this is what we do, we need to start taking a step back, not just us, but all of us. This is not real life. Like there's people out there, men and women, who not about this life. They're not about the YouTube topics. They're not about the taglines. They're not about the narrative. Women are out here want to be with men. They want to be with men. They're not looking for a man to buy a mascara so they can go on a date. They're not expecting the man to pay for the babysitter just so they can go on a date. Like that's the women that's getting on social media saying that are not the ones y'all obviously want. Right? So, I mean, I would just challenge men to say, please be more open-minded to the fact that, yes, obviously we know there's a lot of women out here like that, but it's also a lot of women out here that's not on that. And, I hate to say it because I hate to see that now we're all kind of being looped in group, but I get it because men are being looped in group too. So
let me say it if I may. I kind of regret that I was already scheduled to be on another show at this point. So I got to run. They're starting without me. I told them I'd be there in a few seconds, but I subscribed. I'm tapped in with you again. Eclectic panel, beautiful to see. I do want to say this. So because I've been in this thing for a few years now, I have done so much research at this point. I try not to. I try not to speak from my personal experience. Right. I'm fresh out of a 14-year relationship. So if I'm being frank, I'm in a lot of pain right now. Right. But at the same time, I don't want to hate women. Right. So what I do is I try to speak from a matter-of-factly place, regardless of who we're talking about. So like when the brother Vince said, most of our 19 to 20-year-olds, that's just not true, right? Most of our 19 to 20-year-olds are not going to lay up with some girl because most 19 to 20-year-old girls don't even have their own place, right? We have to start making sure that when we say things, we mean what we say so that we're not always correcting, right? You have to be willing to use data and statistics and not just our anecdotal experiences to give these takes. This is our chance as Black people to create a narrative about ourselves, to paint a picture about ourselves. And we have to be willing to tell the truth more so than the white media is willing to do, right? So when I use the analogy of the grocery store, when I'm saying that's about the 70% of bad fruit, right? Well, I have the data that backs that up for me to be able to say that 70% of our women are bad fruit. It doesn't mean that they're not lovable. It doesn't mean I'm saying nobody should get with them or deal with them.
I'm curious, where'd you get I'm curious, what kind of information, like I'm just asking, where would you get that type of statistic that would give you the idea that the number is 70%? Like, how are you able to drill down into that number like that?
So the metrics that we usually judge women by is marriage, right?
Okay.
Marriage and children, right?
Okay.
So if I look at the data and the data says that less than only like 1%, I think it's 26% of Black women are married, right? If the data says that the average Black woman has her first child at 22, if the data says that the average Black woman is getting married at 30 and divorcing 5 years later, and she's initiating the divorce, there's a lot of data right, that I use to get to this point. But again, I'm saying bad fruit, right? Meaning I'm not blaming the woman, right?
Quantify bad fruit, though. I get the numbers. How do you quantify bad fruit? Like, I get you're using numbers, but
because there are choices in those. There are choices in the numbers, right? So there was a comment that somebody just put on the screen that says
it doesn't leave room for nuances.
It absolutely does, though, right? That's what conversation is about. That's what conversation is for. Conversation is for you to give context, right? And to discuss the nuances. So a few seconds ago, it was highlighted on screen. A woman posted in the chat and said, "Stop impregnating women that you don't want to be with." Right? There you go, right there. Stop impregnating women that you don't plan on being with. Where's the nuance? Right? It's not needed with that, right? That's just something that we will all collectively say yes to. But here's the thing. Where is that conversation to say, ladies, how about this? Don't carry until you marry. Like, that is a see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Bro, let me say something.
That's crazy. That's crazy work.
Let me say something right quick. If that's the case, we all bad fruit then.
Right.
But wait.
Because let me finish, bro. We can't look at just them bad fruit because I had a child at 17. I had another one at 22. All my friends had kids out of wedlock. Right. So yeah, this might be my anecdotal experience, but if you look at the percentages, we are not getting married as a people. So all of us are bad fruit. So we are picking from bad fruit. They picking from bad fruit too.
Right.
Because you just said yourself, you was in a 14-year relationship. Where was the marriage?
Wait, Vince, this is problematic. Listen, if we're talking about the women and you want to use the karate tactic, what about the men though? That's problematic.
No, I didn't say that. What I said is all bad fruit.
Vince, let me finish. Listen to what I'm saying. if we're talking about the women and you say, what about the men though? That is called deflecting. That is called being dismissive. You're absolutely
I did not.
suggesting.
No, I didn't say
If
what.
you
But what I
just let
said
me
was,
finish, which
you're
is where
trying
the
to
word.
say the women are
Yes,
bad fruit,
yes. Hold
but
on.
we
We
are
know we
all
don't
bad
need to
fruit.
overtalk each other. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. If you listen to the words, I said if, right? So it's not a personal attack. It's not, I'm speaking in general.
Are you bad fruit?
Absolutely.
Okay, then that's all that exactly. So what difference do it make? If you bad fruit, then you need to
It
get
makes a
bad fruit.
it
How
makes
the
a lot
fuck
of
you gonna be
difference.
bad fruit, but you want a great
It-
apple?
so wait. So by that narrative, that means you don't believe that the justice system is real, then, right? Because we put guilty people on juries all the time to judge other folk. That's the
True.
world. That's the way the world works, bro.
I agree with that.
So that's not the point. What we're doing right now is we're having a conversation, and this is what I'm saying. You just tried to personalize it to me when we're supposed to be having it in general, right? And to be honest with you, I'm 46. It's over with for me. I'm a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur. I'm a relic. It's over with for me. What
Relic.
we're really talking about is what we expect from our younger people and the generations coming up under us, right? But that's the point, right? If I know as a woman I have the power, a real power, and that power ain't to snap my fingers and twist my neck. That power is to say, no, sir, you will not get this vagina that I want to pretend like is the world's gold, right? You will not get this vagina until I have that ring in your last name.
I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? That
I
right
agree with
there
that.
eliminates a lot of stuff, right? But
Mhm.
then that's not even the beginning. The beginning is what we're doing with our children. We're not raising them to be husbands and wives anyway.
I agree with
But
that too.
but you know why that's never going to be corrected? Because we don't get to talk about black mothers. Show me the panel where it's a 2-3 hour show and the whole thing is dedicated to addressing the way black mothers raise their children without saying where was the fathers though. It doesn't.
We've done that
I
show.
agree with you. I
We've
agree
done
with
that
you, brother.
show.
I agree with
We've
you, my
done
brother.
that show.
Well, I'm glad y'all have.
We've
Yeah.
done that show.
We need more of them.
Yeah.
Right? We need some of the shows that got 3,000 people watching live, and that's doing 100,000 and 1,000,000 views to have those conversations.
Let them know. Let them know. But see, that's the problem,
Right.
Bees. Like that's the problem, right? Like I think Vince, you got to mute.
Yeah, I got
think
it. I got it. Go ahead. Go ahead. I got you.
yeah, because when you have those kinds of conversations, people don't want to tap in. They're not ready for that kind of conversation. We have those kinds of conversation all the time because on this panel we're objective. So we're gonna talk about the men, we're gonna talk about the women, we're gonna talk about everything in between. The problem is people really don't want to do that though. They want to tune in to where all we doing is ragging on women or all we doing is ragging on men. They don't really want to hear us rag on both because we got problems on both sides. They don't really want to hear that. So yeah, we can have those conversations, but people have to be mature enough to actually be able to sit down and have that conversation, right? Like you made a lot of great points. It wasn't even that I was disagreeing with you. I just, for me, I'm like, I agree. We can't just be looking at our geographical experiences and going, oh, it must be this because this is what I see. But at the same time, I also want to be careful, kind of taking numbers and trying to make them make sense because we might not be. It's not an accurate picture. That's just my personal POV. It's not an accurate picture. Like there's so much you can't account for. Kenyatta even mentioned that. What about widows? What about this? What about that? There's nuances, right? So when you start looping and grouping and saying these people are this or these people are that, you said it yourself that it's hard to tell now a wife between a whore. It's hard to tell. They could be standing right next to each other and be two completely different type of women, but you can't tell. If there's any similarities at all, you might not catch it. So I agree with you that we need to be not speaking from, like you said, anecdotal, but at the same time, some of the conversations that we're having are nuanced and they do require context. So it's still not going to be accurate for us to just throw out a number because we added this and we subtracted this, we multiplied this and we divided this and we had this remainder. It doesn't.
Let me ask you a question real quick. So you said somebody brought up the widows, right? Well, that's 8% of 100%.
right? So let's add that 8% to the 26% that's married. That's 34%, which leaves 66%. So what would you say is the primary reason why 66% of adult Black women aren't married?
Why they're not married?
Yes. The primary reason. We understand that there's more than one.
But that
I don't think they feel.
Goodness gracious, Vince.
I think
that requires.
It's
that requires. Vince.
You want me to go
Let me
ahead?
answer the
I
question.
think it's a very simple
Let me answer the
reason.
question.
Because we're in the second or third generation of fatherless homes. They don't feel it's needed. They don't feel it's important. Because their father wasn't there, their grandfather wasn't there, their uncles ain't there. I'm not blaming men. I'm just telling you what it is. I was single from 22 to 45. I could count on one hand how many women I dated that had both of their parents in the house. On one hand, I'm talking about hundreds of women. They don't feel it's important. My grown kids don't feel it's important because I wasn't married their whole life. Right. My grown kids never seen their mother and father together. So why would they feel it's important? You know what I'm saying? But I have two smaller kids. They're going to come from marriage and understand it's important. You can't be what you haven't seen in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why so many other cultures, I don't care how much money they got, they still get married because they understand the value of marriage and coming together as one for legacy, for money and all that. We don't understand that. And so as soon as we unhappy, our daddy wasn't there or he was around the block, so why get married? We can just have some babies and partner and, live together and go on about it.
Yeah.
So and I don't know how that's going to change, my brother. I don't know how that's going to change. Because if most of the people are unmarried, I don't see how it's going to really change.
It's not.
So,
it's not. So yeah.
Yeah.
So let me let Chloe respond to that, and I want to answer that question, Beans. Give me a couple more seconds, Beans, because I want to respond to that.
You can't leave.
Chloe, I want you to respond to that. Go ahead, Chloe. I know you want to get something out.
I think Beans gotta go, so I don't want to hold you. I know you have commitments. But I would just, I guess my point is this: I don't disagree with you, which is why it doesn't make sense to really go back and forth, because I actually don't really disagree with you. I do believe that we need to be speaking for more concrete, but that's also why I disagree. So I agree and disagree, because I still think that when we're talking about a topic like, I don't know, kind of trying to deduce what a population of people, that we're leaving a lot of gray area and room for error, which is why I try not to speak in absolutes, because you really can't do that accurately, in my personal opinion, unless you got,
But that's the point, right? So it's something that I really I always knew this, but it was like once I got to college, it really sunk in for me, right? The difference between absolutism and generalizations. Generalizations move the conversation forward. And this is why I love data and statistics, because you can't run from it. You can deflect, but then you're just dumbing yourself down for everybody to see, right? So that's why I like using the numbers. The numbers say this, the numbers say that, and then we can use our experience to mine out the numbers, right? So if you tell me in the Black community that 80% of divorces are filed by women, then I'm going to ask you, what do you think the primary reason that is? If you say that the primary reason why women are filing divorce is because of the man, then I know you're probably an idiot, right? And therefore I have to no disrespect to anybody, because nobody said that. This is me speaking generally. Then I know you're an idiot. Because if I switch that up and I said, well, what do you think the primary reason is why a man is cheating on his woman? You wouldn't say the woman. You would hold the man accountable for his decisions.
but you don't want to do the same thing with women. See, it gets uncomfortable when we're talking about women because we're talking about mothers and daughters and sisters, and we are protective as a people of our women in general. And I understand that. But as somebody who has suffered trauma at the hands of women since I was a baby, I absolutely understand that the conversations, not the dismantling, not the berating, not the disparaging, but the conversations around women are absolutely necessary because we will grow no higher than the women of our nation. That's just my belief. If you all are here next Wednesday, I'm putting it on my calendar. I'm gonna make sure I'm here. Super dope, beautiful panel, man. Black people, I love y'all. But I gotta go. Thank you so much, man. Like I said, I'll subscribe. Salute to y'all. I appreciate your time.
Beans, appreciate that. Appreciate you hopping on, man. Let's tell you, we here every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, man. So definitely come check us out. Let's see, we'll come over to your channel, show some love as well, man. We appreciate you hopping on tonight, man.
No doubt. Salute, man.
All right, take care there. All right, but yeah, let me say this real quick, then I'm gonna come back to the panel. The gentleman Beans, let's just shout out to Beans for joining us tonight. He brought up a great question, and he talked about that high percentage of women not being married. And let me just say this. This is just my observation. I think a lot of us are not married, and I'm just going to keep it a buck. I think a lot of us are not married because we don't, at the end of the day, I don't feel like folks actually want to be husbands and wives.
Period.
Yeah, but I think a lot of folks today, I think in their minds, they want to get married, but they don't actually want to be husbands and wives. Yeah, but that comes with responsibility. It comes with additional effort. It comes with accountability. For the men, it comes with leadership. For the women, it comes with nurturing. Yep, I don't think a lot of people today really want to do that piece of the marriage. To be honest with you, I don't think a lot of folks today can even handle it. But I think that is at the root of that problem. Yep, I understand that these divorces are getting initiated, by a large percentage by a lot of these young ladies out here, or a lot of these quote unquote ex-wives. But yeah, I don't think folks really want to basically actually be a husband and a wife. They just want to be able to say they're married. They want to be able to flash their little ring. They want to be able to have their big luxurious wedding with their white dress and their tuxes and all of that, but they don't actually want to go through the process or exist in the process of being a husband and a wife. And I think that is at the root of what we're seeing today. Let me get some of these comments and I'm gonna come right back to the panel. Eva Wright said it's just that data has to be all inclusive. Picking and choosing data to support your agenda leaves gray and questionable areas. No, that's facts. That's facts.
Before you move on, can I just touch that?
Go ahead.
That's the point that I was making, right?
Go ahead.
I'll go back to it.
I'm all with data and statistics. Y'all know that we've been on the show in the middle of the show, and I have looked up data. I have looked up statistics. I have looked up definitions because I'm all about that. The problem with that is you have what study did you get this from? Like how many people were pooled, right? Like, is this the US? Is this globally? Like, I'm asking because once you do that, you introduce these nuances. And if you, and I'm just going to say this, I don't know him to that extent. I don't know his situation. But if you are trying to prove a point, data can also be skewed. And that's the only thing. If you said you looked up a study that specifically told you that they talked to, 600,000 women, and they asked these 600,000 women specifically this question about this, and this, and these were the answers. So 70% of these women were this, the other 30% were that. Then I would have to go, okay, well, there you go. Because you had a control group of people and you got specifics. But if you're telling me that you took a number that was not based off what you're using it for, you took that number and you said, well, these women are married and these women aren't, so these must be the bad apples. That's crazy work. And then you want to convince me that I'm wrong when I talk about women that I actually know. When I say I know these women. So I'm saying that, does that mean, can I give you a number of women out here that are great women? No, I can't give you a number. That's ridiculous. Of course I don't know a number. And he doesn't either. There's no way to qualify that. So I agree with using numbers and data and statistics, but we all know that it can be skewed. Numbers do lie if the person that are handling the numbers is dishonest, disingenuous, or has an agenda.
But
That was the only point that I was making. So I'll leave that alone now.
and I think the issue was him using the verbiage "bad fruit." I think that's what, now people that said, well, we pick it from broken people. We all broken. We all bad. It was kind of like that. You know, I can buy good fruit, but I got to pick from bad fruit. But if all you can buy is bad fruit, then you picking for what you are. That's what I was kind of getting. So I understood what he was saying, but we are bad fruit then. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, well, I only got this amount of women to pick from and that bad fruit. But you in that same boat though. You know, he was, so that was my whole issue with the whole bad fruit. Maybe it was just the wording of that. Because my thing is no, because if you be a better man, you get better fruit.
I don't think that was the argument
Yeah.
he was making. I think that he admitted that he was also a part of the bad fruit, but it takes something different for someone to say those statistics. And if he acknowledges himself to be this bad fruit, that he's not any different than the 70%, but he's quoting that and saying, look, I'm a part of that. It's not like he's claiming to be the 30% who's the good fruit, talking about the bad fruit. He claimed, I'm the bad fruit too. He said, I'm part of that group too. He said he was essentially saying we all have to get it together, but at the same time, he wasn't doing what you did, Vince, which was kind of like, I thought that was clever, that karate reference. And what about women though? He was specifically talking about, well, actually not just women, but black women. And I think that's kind of where it touched the nerve. And then he correlated that to his experience. So and to be fair, I've had some experiences I couldn't explain. And then I say, well, it's subjective. It's always subjective. And it keep happening. It's like, okay, is there some numbers behind this? Like, is this a common thing? So when he's saying those numbers, it kind of took me by surprise. I'm not surprised by it now, but as I'm experiencing life and being unaware of those numbers, it's kind of like it's just over and over. And I can count on my hands, okay, 7 out of 10. But these group of women is different. It's like, well, why is that? But when he puts the numbers statistically, it's like, well, it's either he's lying or he's getting the numbers from somewhere, probably the government. I'm sure they have some sort of aggregate program where they can see, the point at which a black woman gets married to the when she gets divorced and who files for the. I don't see how it would benefit anyone to lie about something like that, or even the government. It's just kind of like, these are the statistics we got. I mean, in the same statistics will also say that black men will commit a lot of the crime, or we commit the most disproportionate amount of crime relative to our population, something like 11%. And we as black men will also acknowledge that. We'll say, yeah, that happens. I mean, I grew up I think all of us here are from Detroit. We see it. It's something I've seen some things. I've had guns pointed. It's an issue. And even me as a black man would say, I'm black, and I would tell you it's the issue that we have in terms of violence in the ghettos and what they do in the community. And it's bad. And I can see how the statistics could be true. Now I can make the argument, well, not all black men this, or what about the women this? No, I just say, no, it's the issue. Because when I go in these communities, which is why I also had that conversation with Chloe and Quay the other day, 2 weeks ago. They asked me, well, you should go back into the community. I said, I don't want, because I've seen how black men and black women, not just women, but also black men, how it's that poverty mindset. It's something about the mindset that carries. It's a culture thing. And I don't want to be involved in it. So I just made that argument based on my experience. But then when I looked at the statistics, I said, well, the statistics backed up my experience. So it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you look at the statistics and say, I don't want to deal with it? Or do you look at your experience and say, I don't want to deal with it? I chose to look at my experience, followed by statistics. I said, well, it's a lost cause. And at the end of it, what he did say was, he agreed with Vince. He said, it's a lost cause. He said, I don't think there is a way to fix it. And that's the harder conversation to have. Like, what can we do to fix this? We're talking about it. What can we do to, there is no way to fix it. There's nothing that we on this panel could possibly do. There are no amount of words we can say. There's no sense we can talk to these people to help them fix the problems that they cause in their own community. So it's just kind of like, you speak about it, you talk about it, and those who will listen, take heed and act on it. The vast majority will not. And it would just continue to perpetuate itself to oblivion.
So yeah, I'm gonna respond to that in a minute. Let me let JR. I know you wanted to say something, JR. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I want to say, so basically, you're saying something about obviously the guys need to obviously improve and all that kind of things, right? Which is obviously true. Guys must improve. You must aspire to become a much better person, man, etc., 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 right? For yourself, for society, and whatnot. Okay. Now, with obviously what Bean said, yeah, with the percentage, right? Obviously, I know you can say, you said that stats can be flawed or whatnot. So, okay, let's take the 70% out of it, right? Cool. So, if the OGs are saying that the young Gs need to, improve, self-improve and whatnot, yeah? What is the female or the women's equivalent to them self-improving?
So okay, so let me answer that, right? And this is why I said that men have to strive to be the best version of themselves, or focus on themselves and get themselves to a better point. What I mean by that is typically, and I'll just use this movie. It was a movie long time ago. I think it was Kevin Costner. But it was I think they was out in if I remember correctly, they was out in farmland, and they made this quote. It was, if you build it, they will come. That was the quote from the movie. That's really how men have to move today.
Yeah.
Yep. If you get yourself together, and I'm not just talking about money. And that was just one thing I would clarify when Beans was on. I wasn't just referring to money when I talk about a man focusing on his purpose and being the best version of himself. That's part of the issue as well, right? We've reduced men to money. And men bring so much more value to any situation, especially a relationship, than just money and resources. So that's part of the first issue. So when I say a man needs to get to the best version of himself or focus on his purpose and focus on himself, I'm not talking about just money, right? So that's a whole facade. That's part of our problem we're dealing right now.
I know what you mean,
Yeah. So when a man does that, first of all, what is going to typically happen is certain ladies who know that they don't measure up, not going to even come his way. That's the first thing, because he's moving a certain way. He speaks a certain way. He handles his business a certain way. Two, what it is also going to do is a woman who knows that she is a traditional minded woman, a woman who moves in her femininity naturally, a woman who is not a chameleon, a woman who wants to be a part of a legacy and wants to be a part of a successful, I'll even use the word partnership. She's going to gravitate towards that man. And see, that's the difference. See, what we see today is we see men trying to strive for what a lot of these young ladies are saying that they want. And that's backwards. Yep, a man should be shooting for his greatness. So then that lady wants to align with what he has going on. And that's the difference. And that's why I said earlier with my point with this whole drizzle thing, as men conform to this type of nonsense, you're doing exactly what you shouldn't do. Yeah, see, a masculine man, he ain't conforming, because he already knows the value he brings to the situation. He already knows he got his stuff together. Like Vince was talking about, he got somewhere to stay. He's got the foundation laid. He is just now looking for the right type of woman to join the team so that he can move twice as fast as they build and move forward. Yep, and that's the difference. Yep, guys cannot come back to some of this nonsense that's going on now and think that that's going to bring you the type of woman that you need to help build your empire. That's not going to do that. Yep, and that's why I said if guys get themselves right, then only that type of lady is going to be in your space anyway. Go ahead, JR. I know you want to respond. Go ahead, man.
So basically saying just to basically kind of understand what you're saying, that a guy should basically build with a lady or build himself up first, and then the lady can move in. Which one are you saying?
Correct.
No, which one are you saying? The first or the latter?
So the second. So the guy should build himself up. Then that lady will show. Because this is the piece right here, right? This is the piece that we miss. You know, if we want to, I'm gonna leverage back to scripture right quick, right? So if a guy, if he finds this good thing, right? This is this wife, right? If he finds this thing, but in order for him to find that, and for him to have that discernment to find that, he has to be a husband already. He has to already be in that mindset of being being a husband. That's how you identify a wife. So if a woman is not presenting herself as a wife before you actually marry, because see, that's another piece that we miss in this thing. It's not that you're looking for a woman to turn her into a wife. She already moves like a wife before you find her. That's what makes her easily identifiable, because she already moves and lives like a wife. That's the difference. That's why it's he who findeth. She's a wife before you marry her. Yep, you're a husband before you marry her. It's in your mindset. It's in the way you move. It's in the way you live. Yep, and that's the piece we miss. And that's why I said a man must get himself to husband level, husband mindset, husband mentality before he's going to be able to find his wife and build his legacy.
Yeah, I hear everything that you're saying, right? And I think that's where the Gen Zers, whatever it is, us lot, we're having that problem, right? Where the OGs are saying that the guys should build themselves up and then she moves in. And we're saying, nah, that ain't about to happen because you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. So why should you now get to deserve all this hard work of mine? On top of, the current society that we are in today, right? Where if a guy has it all, she could potentially take some of it when she feels like it. Does that make sense? So guys are basically saying like, hold on, if you want it, hey, listen, you're gonna have to be with me shooting in the gym, and then you can take it all if you wanna. At the end of it, when you don't feel very happy in the relationship, because you was here and you worked for it. You ain't about to have me work for it, and you just get to slide right up in here and be comfortable. It ain't gonna work like that.
But I think the mindset is, though, here's the issue with that mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
While you're getting yourself together, she's also getting herself together. There's preparation that women have to go into in order to be a wife. That's why Quay is saying she should already be a wife. She should be bringing value to you in a way that you're not concerned about what you're going to get out of it, because you'll be able to see her value. She'll be bringing you value. So you won't be looking at it like she's just going to come in here and get. But you're going to be looking at it like, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to give, but she's bringing, right? She's bringing stuff. She brings something with her. She's not coming empty-handed like, I just want some of what you got going on.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's why he's saying be the kind of guy you want to be, so you can find the kind of woman that's already a wife. So I hate to use this term matching energy because it's so ridiculous, but in a way it's true. You are at a certain level, right? So the women that are also trying to be where you're trying to be, they're also at a certain level. So you're not just putting yourself in this position where you're giving all and she's giving nothing.
Yeah.
Like you bringing all the value, and she's bringing no value.
Yeah.
Like,
go on. Sorry, go on. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, right. So when you have a situation like that, it's not one-sided. So you don't feel like, oh, I've been able to achieve, I'm in a good place, and now I gotta gamble with this chick that, all she might be doing is just trying to get me for what I got. Like if she's the right woman, if you find the good thing, then that's not even going to be an issue, because you're going to see her value. You're going to be able to tell she has value. Nobody is telling Gen Zers or anybody else to tie themselves to somebody that's not bringing any value. Like, that's insane. Like, don't do that. No. Unfortunately, though, there have been men who have gotten a raw deal, right? We're talking about these men who have married women, and then the women have come back and divorced them. That has happened. That's a real thing. So I understand why there's a concern. Like, that's a real thing. But we're not saying you should tie yourself to that woman. Now, unfortunately, what we do recognize is a problem for you guys, though, is that, and this is something that Beans touched on, it's hard to tell the difference. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, the women who are more traditional mindset have conformed in a way where now they're dressing. I'm sorry to use this word, y'all, but they're dressing like the whores. They talking in some instances like them. They hanging out at the same places. They're doing some of the same things. So now it's hard for you guys to tell the difference between the women who maybe they just having a little fun, but that's not really they not really about that whole life, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell. So that's what we need. That's the conversation we as us women we need to be having with them. Like y'all got to get out of that mindset. The same way men are telling y'all, get yourself together. As women, we're trying to tell the young women, get yourselves together.
Yeah.
Because the men that you want, they don't want you like this. They don't want this. Right? That's the conversation that I try to have with young women. They don't want this. This sprinkle stuff, this is turning them off. That's the man you really want. He don't want that. Right? So it's about you positioning yourself as a man, but recognize that there's a work that women have to do on the other side, right? And it's unfortunately we have to keep having these conversations because it is lifting that mirror. It's lifting a mirror and saying, look at yourself, look at what you're doing. You got work to do. But I just don't know. I feel like, right, we kind of find ourselves going in circles. And I'm just trying to figure out how do we get out of this going in circles, having the same conversations over and over again without the forward movement, without the progress.
But this one I don't understand. Cause I want to say something about this whole shooting in the gym thing. That's for LeBron James and people who are making big money. Most of us are average earning people for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Most people work. You gonna work and your wife is gonna work. So I get so tired of men talking about where they can take everything. You ain't got nothing to take anyway. Y'all both working. If you married and y'all have been together, she deserve half of the house. So I think we need to get, and the thing that I don't understand is I go on a lot of beautiful vacations and rich people get married. They really got money to lose. Investment properties, assets, homes, but they still get married at 24 and 25 because they understand the value of marriage. We sitting up here talking about losing what, a couple $1,000? We ain't got enough money to be talking about this whole shooting in the gym. And you get that from LeBron James. We ain't LeBron James. We the average dude that's going to have a job at Ford or Amazon, and our wife going to be a teacher or a social worker. And we going to build it together. So let's stop with this whole, she ain't shooting in the gym. Y'all ain't got nothing to take anyway. Let's stop this broke people.
And
We need each other.
Mr. Vince, you're right.
We're not going to make it with single income for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, Mr. Vince, you're right, and you're not lying. And obviously, And when I'm saying that, obviously, you're not women shit in the gym. I'm not talking for myself, right? I'm just talking in general, right? And what I'm saying, but with that, I mean in the sense of within my generation and within my people, right? With what Quay said, um, about men building themselves up, and I think you said, I think Chloe said it as well. It's about the money. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about the man's, you know, characteristics or whatnot, what kind of man he is. They're not talking about that. So they're talking about the money, right? So the men are basically saying, and Quay said, yeah, the man should build himself up to obviously as a good man, get your money correct, X, Y, Z. The men want to do that. Now, when the women come along, they are expecting you to have long money, like the LeBrons. Does that make sense, Vince? But all I'm saying is the men do aspire. No, listen. The men do aspire to become the LeBron James, right? But like somebody said, we're never all gonna make it, right? But the women are asking the men to make it to the LeBrons. And what the Bean said, once you make it to the LeBrons, that shit don't mean nothing because everybody is a LeBron now, right? Does that make sense? So the guys are sitting there and basically saying, like, yo, if you want me to get there, most men, like you're saying, men build yourselves up and become that man, right? Whether you're gonna get to the long money or not, just become a much better man for yourselves and for society, like I said earlier, right? But like I said, when the women now jump on board, it's a case of your money needs to be longer than long. So when men are hearing that message, it's a case of like, oh, okay. And with what Quay said, the men should go and get it. Okay, yes, the men should go and get it. But the women come along and say, oh, it should be longer than that. The men are saying, like, hold on, you're not even shooting with me, but I need to go and get that kind of money for you. And on top of that, like I said, with the way this society is currently set up, when she don't feel happy for whatever the reason, she can just decide to take some of it and off she goes. So them man are sitting and saying, yo, that ain't realistic, like you're saying, Vince. Does that make sense? So with what I said, I know it sounds stupid, right? But I'm not saying, that's what the men are saying that, I want to become a LeBron. No, men want to become a much better man for themselves. But like I said, most men understand reality. But who doesn't understand reality? It's not the men, it's the women that are not
So
understanding reality, Vince. Because like you said, what? Most people are broke or average or whatever it is, right? So we should what? Get together, right? Work together. I go to work, she goes to work. And then what happens? Our money becomes long, right? It might not become the LeBron kind of money, but it becomes even longer if we work together. If we put that money together, what happens? If we have a kid or two, they might have a better chance of becoming to become the LeBrons. We can set
so
our kids up. So sorry to
yeah,
cut you, Quay. So
go ahead,
when
man.
Beans was mentioning the bad apples or bad fruits or whatever he's saying, yeah, what the word that he should have basically used was the mentality and the mindset of these women. Because you're asking men to be men, and men are trying to be men. But like I said to you, Quay, yeah, what is the equivalent of you asking women to be women? Hence why Beans came up with that. You know, some people say that's questionable, 70% or whatever it is. But if we're gonna say, yeah, on a what we hear on a daily basis is men need to be men, but we don't hear women saying men say to men, men to be men, women say to men need to be men. But we don't hear women saying women need to be women. So already there's already an imbalance there. So we already know that men are having to self-improve. So on the balance of probabilities, yeah, who is the one that is improving on a daily basis? Because there's only one gender that is getting asked to improve themselves. So don't you think that it might be a problem in society with women when being said about 70% their mindset ain't it? So that's why I said with the whole shit with me in the gym and whatnot, right? I'm not saying me, I'm this LeBron, I'm gonna become that. Like I said, Quay's right. Men should become better men and aspire to become great, whether it's in this or in that, and just get your package, 100. Right. That's what men aspire to be. whether you're going to become that or not. But like I said, when the ladies jump on board, they take it to the extreme.
I got you. I got you. So I understand what you're saying, JR. And I think the piece that is missing from this particular, I'll just call it a little mini conversation that we're having right now, is discernment.
Yeah.
So as a man gets himself together, let me just be honest about it, JR. A lot of these young ladies today in this modern mindset, they ain't gonna make the cut. So let me just call it what it is. They're not gonna make the cut, right? Now there are some young ladies out here who still maintain some traditional mindset. If they want to be nurturers, they want to take care of a family. They want to make sure their husband is good and their children are good, and they want to be the best woman that they can be. That still exists out here, right? That's one thing we can't do. We can't let social media have us thinking that all the traditional women in the traditional mindset women out here have disappeared. They still out here. They just not heavily vocal on social media. So we just got to keep that in mind, right? But going back to the your conversation, some of these young ladies are not going to make the cut. Let me just be honest. Yep, as a man who moves in his purpose and knows his value and his worth that he brings to a relationship, some women, they not going to make the cut. Yeah, I know you kind of new to the platform. Vince told a story a while ago. Told us a story about a young lady that he went out with, and she ordered the surf and turf on a date, and she never got another date. That's what these situations are going to look like out here. For a man who's got his stuff together, some ladies are not going to make the cut. They're not going to even be able to come in your space, because at the end of the day, when you get yourself together as a man, you take on a mindset, and rightfully so, you take on a mindset that some ladies are not even worth your time. Yeah, but I'm just being honest about that. And that is what is gonna happen. And that's why I say, as men, we have to move in our purpose, and we have to become the best version of ourselves, because that's going to weed out a lot of young ladies who are not wifey material. Yep, they're not going to make it, and that's fine. Yep, there's going to be some young ladies that's just not going to make the cut, and that's fine. And I'm sure, some ladies today have taken on that same mindset. They feel like, because they're career women and they boss chicks and they making $500,000 a year, then there's going to be some men that's not worthy of their time, and that's fine. Yep, because see, I like to look at outcome. Yeah, for the young ladies who feel like that and think like that, I'm gonna look at their outcome. Yeah, but we're gonna see what that looks like. Yep, and for the gentlemen out here who've chosen to get themselves together and become the best version of themselves, I'm gonna look at their outcome, and I guarantee you there's gonna be a difference in those outcomes. Yeah, but that's the mindset that you have to take. Everybody is not gonna make it. As people say, everybody can't come. That's just what it is. Everybody can't come. Yep, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna just sum it up with this. That's partially why we're here. Yeah, that's partially why we brought forth the concept of Candid Konvos, because at the end of the day, we got to have these conversations. We got to try to impart this value. We got to try to impart a different way of thinking versus what we're doing today, because some people are going to get it. It may be one, it may be two, but some people are going to get it. And some people are going to say, based on these conversations and what they hear in these conversations that we have on this show, they're going to say to themselves, man, maybe it's some things about what I'm doing that I need to change. Yeah, maybe based on something that Quay said, you know what, I might need to change what I'm doing. Maybe something that JR said, you know what, I'm not going about this the right way. I might need to change up what I'm doing so I can get some better results. Maybe Vince, you know what I'm saying? He said something, yeah, that hit home. Yeah, I need to go back and make some changes real quick so I can get my wife. That's why we're here. Yep. At the end of the day, everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not ready to get it. Let me just be honest. Everybody not ready to get it. If they rather live in these distractions, they rather let some of this nonsense on social media drive their mindset and how they think. But that ain't why we're here. Yeah, we're here speaking from experience. Yeah, we're here speaking from years of being married and years of being in relationships. And let me just add, being successfully married. That's key.
Yeah.
We got some people out here that's married, but they're not successfully married. And that's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we just here to bring the insight, man. We're here to have the conversation. We're here to essentially, I'm gonna call it what it is, speak against some of this nonsense that's permeating out here.
No, of course.
Yes, a lot of nonsense that's permeating out here, and it is affecting the young folks. It is affecting the folks that's coming behind us.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm in my 40s. Yeah, so some of the stuff that's going on right now, like, and I know Joe mentioned it earlier, brought it up or confirmed it earlier. Some of this stuff is going to trickle down and affect the folks that's behind me.
Yeah.
Yep, and I got to do my part and get in front of this stuff and say, hey, it ain't right. That's not the right mindset. Yep, this is what a successful man does. This is how he moves. This is what masculinity looks like. This is what a feminine woman looks like. Yeah, we gotta change some of this mindset that's going out here, man. Go ahead, JR, and then we're gonna start making our transition. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, now like I said, like everything that you said, like, you're right, if you know what I mean. And I think another key word that I'll use again, yeah, and I think it's the word willing, if you know what I mean. Like, the women have to be willing to come back on board, come back on our side. Does that make sense? Because
I got you.
We're not here to be against you or fight with you. Because, like, most people say, like, there's this gender war, right? Because, we're going back and forth with each other, wherever it is. So come back on side. And when I mean come back on side, yeah, let me say this. Ladies, you should not open your legs. Am I against the lady or am I with her if I make that statement? Does that make sense? I'm trying to protect her. If I say, yo, ladies, close your legs, don't be having sex with these men. Does that make sense? Me saying that as a guy, I'm trying to protect the lady, and by her being protected, me as the guy, I'm also protected. There's no STDs, nobody gets pregnant, XYZ. You know what I mean? So men are just trying to get the ladies to come back on side, but when we say these kind of things, we'll get pushback for it. And that's why I said we can't really get back on side until the ladies are willing to come back on side, because they'll say things like, why should women have to take, contraceptive pills, all that stuff there, Once again, ladies, don't open your legs. Then you ain't got to take none of that stuff. Men aren't going to complain about no body counts. Men aren't going to complain about no XYZ. And like I said, it's about the mindset and people being willing to do. Because like I said, and you lot said, right, men shouldn't conform. Yes, men do conform to women's standards, but it's got to be the right way. Because Quay, I believe, like I said, you are the man that you're speaking about. You're doing the right things. But like I said, once again, you're not going to do the things for your wife if she doesn't respect you as a man. Yes, you have to bring forth the things that she must respect you for, right? But at the end of the day, just the baseline level, she must have had that for you regardless, because she just respects you as a man. Because you're saying the whole femininity and whatnot.
But
let me say something to JR.
Go ahead, Vince. I'm gonna come back. Go ahead, Vince.
I think JR needs to. Once you get yourself together as a man, you're not gonna tolerate that mess. You're gonna know from the jump if she's willing to get on your program, and if she ain't willing to get on your program, you ain't gonna ask her why she ain't willing to get on your program. You just leave her in the streets. You gotta understand. Like I tell my sons, I said that your statistics only get better. You only get better with age. So if you gotta wait till you 35, 40, you still can get you a 25-year-old and get her to be right on your program. A lot of women ain't leaving men that got their stuff together. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be out here in these streets struggling by themselves. So, they don't have to be willing to do nothing because they're going to do it or they ain't going to do it.
And that's me not even saying
That's
like,
how
you
you get
know.
down when you got yourself together. You know from the second date if she
Yeah.
gonna get on your program or not.
Yeah,
And
and
if
that's me
she
not even
don't, you
saying
move
like,
on because you got a lot of women waiting to date you. That's how it
yeah,
is. Successful men don't have no problem getting women.
yeah, and that's what I was about to say. It's not even like, I'm even saying like, you know, these guys are perfect in every metric better than these women. I'm not even saying that. Does that make sense? So, like I said, Vince, like you're right. So I'm not even saying like, you know, these men shouldn't be a certain way. Yes, the men must aspire to become these kind of, you know, better men for society. But like I said, in order for society to be able to, you know, function better, we need both set of genders to act accordingly. And like I said, if I say to a lady, right, please don't open your legs to men, there's no talks about single moms. There's no talks about STDs. There's no talks about all these things. And like I said, we're not going to look at women as if like, women are these bad people. Women aren't going to be looking at men as if like, men are these bad people. And this gender war wouldn't exist. Yes, would the bad eggs still exist? Yes, they would. But the majority of the people wouldn't have this bad mindset towards women not wanting to get married, men not wanting to get married. Because like you said, successful people, you know, live a much better life. And that's what I'm saying to you. You guys are saying men should aspire to become better men. And we're saying, yes, Quay, Vince, Chloe, you know, you're right with what you're saying. And you're saying it requires teamwork or whatever it is. Yeah. All we're saying is, you know, partnership, whatever we're saying is cool. We want to get to that. But we're also asking ladies, act correct, and we have a much better society in our hands. We can't do it alone. Does that make sense? Because you're saying if they're not with the program, cut them loose. But how many women do we need to cut loose? Does that make sense?
You only need
How
one,
many?
JR. You only need one to
No,
get
no,
on your
no. Vince,
program.
Vince,
You
Vince,
gotta
Vince.
cut all
I
of them. If
understand.
you gotta cut
Vince,
all
Vince,
of them
Vince,
loose, you only
Vince,
need
Vince,
one.
Vince. I
You only
understand.
need
And
one to get on your program.
Vince, I understand. We always hear that you only need one lady, and you're right. You don't need three, four. You're right. Does that make sense? But what I'm saying with that question is how many ladies must we go through? I'm not saying as in me, one person. I'm saying for the men that ladies want us to become better men. And if Beans is saying that majority of these women are bad people or whatever, I don't believe they're bad people. I just believe the mindset and the mentality, yeah, they don't want to come on board and be on the team. They still want to be on an individual mindset, but they want to do teamwork. They want the teamwork stuff from you. Then it's like, hold on, it doesn't work like that.
You can't worry about them. You
No,
let them
I
go.
Yeah.
understand.
You
I
can't
understand
worry
what you're
about
saying.
them.
I understand what you're saying. Oh, we can't worry about them.
It's just like my employees. When I
Hmm.
hire an employee, if they don't want to get on Williams Code program, you get fired. And I
Of
find
course.
somebody that will. I ain't gonna worry about. I ain't gonna sit up here and try to convince you to work for me.
And that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Don't you know my benefit package?
Let me
No,
I'm
and
gonna
that's what I'm saying.
convince you
And that's what I'm saying. I,
to work for a great company.
and that's what
let
I'm
me throw
saying,
this.
yeah.
Let me throw this. Let me throw this comment
Go
in real quick because I think this hits it right here, Jr. So Mark Kendall said, "Jr. I hear you, bro, but we men are responsible and accountable for our actions alone. It's on the women to want to do better for themselves and achieve the outcomes they desire." So Jr. This is it right here, man. This is it right here, right? So to answer your question, how many do we got to bypass? As many as it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, as many as it takes. At the end of the day, listen, this is why I made this statement way back in this conversation. Men are not moving like men. Yeah, we trying to ask permission. We waiting on the ladies to figure it out and all this stuff. That's not how we supposed to be moving. Yeah, we going over here trying to see if they gonna get their act right. That ain't how we supposed to be moving either. If the young ladies choose that they don't want to get their act right, and don't get me wrong, you bring up a valid point. Yep, I do agree with you. There should be more women out here talking to women about women and how they moving. I do agree with you on that. So you spot on with that comment, right? But as a man, let them be over there doing what they doing. Yeah, focus on getting yourself together, getting yourself to where you need to be. And like I said, the right type of woman, she gonna have her eye out. She gonna be peeking over there trying to see what JR doing. Yep, and then it's up to you to have the proper discernment to discern if she is worthy to join your program and what you got going on. It's just that simple. But like I said, we can't sit here and wait on these young ladies to figure it out and do all this, do all that. That's not how men move. Men set the tone. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We hear ladies talk about this all the time. They looking for a leader. They looking for a man to take charge. I've even heard young ladies say they looking for a man who can put them in their place. They looking for a man who can handle them. So if that's what the ladies are saying that they looking for, then why are you sitting here waiting on them to get their stuff together?
That's it.
So, man, at the end of the day, men got to get out here and get busy, handle their biz, and do what they do. Like Vince said, if you don't want to align, what you say, Vince Williams, Cole? If you don't want to align, then you out of here. And then trust and believe there's going to be another young lady, and I'm sure Vince can attest to what I'm about to say. There's going to be another young lady who's going to read the benefit package, and she's going to say, I want to be a part of what they got going on. And she's going to come right on in. And it's just that simple. But I think sometimes as men, we make this process difficult because at the end of the day, we don't want to really, or we're not used to getting out here setting the tone. Yep, and that's the difference. Yeah, we got to set the tone on how it's going to go, and we got to move accordingly. And if somebody don't line up, they just don't make the cut, and it's as simple as that. Let me get a couple of these comments, and I got to get us up out of here. We starting to run a little long. Let's see. Dark and Leilani. She said, I always wonder about the wives of the husbands or the husband that be talking foolishness online, looking distraught as a married man. The representation is dismal. Okay, now I feel that. I appreciate that comment right there. That's Eva Wright said JR is trying to change the world.
Can I just reply to that comment, please, boss?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. As you was talking before you read the comments, before you start reading the comments, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I think the way I was just trying to come across was, you see it in these YouTube spaces and whatnot, you're talking about women, you hate women and whatnot, and I think with what you guys are saying about cut them loose, yes, the guys are doing at my age. We're not engaged with no single moms, we're not getting married, we're just working ourselves and just trying to figure life out for ourselves, right? And then we see where it takes us. But I think where Arsenal come from with the angle of, like, you know what, I just want to see a much better community for my people. So you're saying, like, you know what, the men must be better. So I'm saying, you know what, if the men must be better, hey, our women must be at good level as well, so we can just take this to a whole nother level for our community if we're both just good people. Does that make sense? So I get what they're saying about me trying to save the world. I think I'm just more trying to be like, you know what, I just want our women to just be, we want to respect our women and look up to our women as well and rate them, and we need our women, you know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to say. I want them to be, I want to look at women in a good light, because someone can say, you know what, a lot of men are looking at women in a bad light, hence why all this gender war or whatnot. So I think that's what I was asking for. Let's try to change the mindset. Let's want our women to improve as well, rather than just leaving it on the side. But like I said, you can't take everybody. But you know what? If I can preach, like they say, I'm trying to save the world. If I can save a few, then that's a lot more women that's going to be better for our community. You know what I mean, boss? So, yeah.
So, no, that's true. That's true. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not going to let us off the hook either.
No,
right?
of course,
So
of course.
No. So what I'm going to add to this piece is, I said, and we'll get ready to take some closing comments. But what I'm going to add to this is, as men, like I said, once again, men have to move like masculine men should. What I'm going to add to this in addition is we also got to do our part as men. Yep. So some of this single motherhood that you keep mentioning, men playing up in that. Yeah, we laying up with some of these females being a part of that process. So we got to take some accountability for that. Yeah, so some of this stuff that's going on out here that is, affecting our relationships and us coming together as men and women, fellas is playing up in that too. Yeah, we got to hold ourselves accountable in that situation. And this is why I said men have to focus on getting themselves to be or getting to their best version. See, when you get to that point mentally, and I'm talking about mentally, spiritually, all of it, financially, all of it, you ain't just laying up with no random chicks. Yeah, you're not selling yourself short, dropping your seed everywhere. Yeah, some lady may come to you and want to lay it with you, and you like, nah, I'm good. I got too much to lose. I'm not even about to play with you. You ain't even worth my time. See, your mindset changes when you put that work in and get yourself in order. Then what it becomes is you will not tolerate certain things. You won't engage in certain things. Yeah, if you look at a lot of guys who have really gotten themselves together and really got their mindsets together, they ain't out here with no baby mamas. They might have an ex-wife. Something may have went wrong in the marriage. But you really gonna see too many of those dudes who really got their mind together and got their stuff together and they moving correctly. They're gonna be out here baby mamaing and all this stuff. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I said, we have to move as men. And that's also going to contribute and help change some of these things that we're dealing with today. Man, let me take some closing comments. We got to get up out of here. We've been running. All right, let me go to the panel first and we out of here. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to Vince. I'm going to Chloe. I'm going to Joe, going to Jared, and we out of here. Vince, you want to say anything in closing before we get out of here, man?
Well, in closing, I just think that the drizzle is goofy. I think men need to be men. We need to stand on our square. And I think that's the only way things gonna change. I think we have to get ourselves together. I think when we do that, we make better decisions. Because then you really find the right person for your future and not your right now. I think so many times we look for people and they're okay for right now, but since we're not on our purpose and in our vision, they don't even can relate to our purpose and our future, is what I'm saying. So I think men can be the best version of themselves. And I think we pick better when we are in our purpose and in our vision because we pick for our future and we don't pick for the right now. And I'll just leave it at that. I know I say a lot of things out here for comical relief because I try to get it a little bit spicy, Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Chloe, you want to say anything close before we get out of here?
Yeah, I would just say, I think we got, there you go.
I got it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I agree. There was a lot of points made. This was a great conversation. I know it kind of went, and we had many conversations going on, but it was a good conversation. And I'm so glad that you joined the panel, JR, because it's a different perspective. Definitely, right. Your generation, you guys are facing some struggles that are unique to ours, right? But I would say this. I know, Joe. I know you're not in our age group. So
you me?
I wasn't throwing no shade. But no, like I know that there is a difference, right? And we on this show we want to be able to speak to all of it, because at this point we agree that we're trying to affect change for the generations that come after us, right? Yeah. We had time. We've made our mistakes, right? Like what we would like is for you guys to learn from our mistakes, not repeat them, not make a bunch of mistakes because you didn't learn from us or because we never taught better, right? We didn't leave anything for you guys to be able to grow off of, which is why we like to have these conversations. I think drizzle is I'm gonna use Eva's word, is an admirable attempt, but I feel like unfortunately it's gonna fall short. And it's because it requires you as men to step outside of yourselves And I just don't think it's good for men to ever have to do that. I don't think it's good for a man to ever have to step outside of himself. And I don't want y'all letting these women get y'all to that point, right? Like, I know that they're attacking masculinity. They want to call it toxic. They want to call men narcissistic. These are terms that not all women are using, but that a certain subset of women today are using to attack the male gender. So I get that, but because of that attack on masculinity is why I'm concerned about Drizzle.
Yeah.
Because they're attacking masculinity is why I don't think men as a whole should jump on this Drizzle bandwagon. Now, what Drizzle is trying to do, I get it. But I don't think that Drizzle is the hill that you guys need to die on. It's not the one. It's not the movement. I'm all for men having a space and commanding your space and saying, yep, we've had to listen to women talk about their grievances forever and we tired of listening to y'all. It's our turn. I'm all for it. I'm here for it. I'm gonna support it. I'm gonna put on the cheerleader outfit. I'm cheering. Listen, I got the pom-poms. I'm ready. But Drizzle ain't it. I don't think that's gonna do it for y'all. Because already they starting a campaign against Drizzle. Already now they want to shame y'all. Already now they're gonna play off this soft thing. Please understand they're gonna play off y'all calling yourself soft. It's not gonna give what y'all think it's gonna give. Instead, what I would like to see men do, since y'all want to stand on business, I would rather see men stand on business, not sleeping with these silly women. Stop sleeping with them. Stop doing that. If you want to stand on business on something, stop doing that. Stop entertaining women that, you know they done been out there and they for the streets, but they're easy. So, you're not really serious right now. You're really just playing around. So you entertain her because just like Bean said, those are always end up being the ones y'all get pregnant. The ones you ain't got no business fooling with in the first place. Stop doing that. If y'all want to stand on business and create a movement around big discipline. Create a movement around you guys not entertaining the foolishness at all, period. Lift up a standard above the silly women. Because two things will happen. When y'all completely pull back, that means stop entertaining it, period. What will happen will be either they gonna fall in line or, I guess in the words of the late Kevin Samuels, they'll buy a dog and die alone. But if you guys don't give them what they're looking for, then they have nothing but their boss chicks and listen, these women ain't bosses, okay? Because if they was bossing like that, they would not be on Joe Biden's internet every other night begging y'all for money. They not bossing like that. That's why they so worried about a man's money. They are not bossing like that. Because the women that I know that are bossing like that for real, they're not begging for nobody's money. They good. They don't need you to take them on an expensive date. They can do that. So when they meet you, they looking for something different from you. So that's my point on this whole drizzle thing. Like, I get it. I understand it. I'm entertained by it. It's hilarious. But I do not think that this is something that y'all should. This one needs to die. Just let it flow away.
Okay. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Joe, you up, man? You want to say anything in closing, man? Still there, Joe? We can't hear you coming through, man. I don't hear any audio from you, Joe. I'll give you a minute. Let me go to JR. JR, you want to say anything in closing before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, I want to say, thank you for having me on. You know, it's God knows what time it is over there. It's nearly 4 a.m. in the UK. So
10:50 over here. 10:50.
What PM?
Yep, PM.
Oh, yeah, it's 10 to 4 in the morning here. So yeah, like I said, you know, I do try and catch up on the live shows, or if not, I'll just go back on a replay and whatnot. So today I managed to catch it live, and when I seen the link, I was like, you know what? Let me jump on and chop it up with the wonderful couple. Because, like I said, I did go on your Instagram to see, you know, exactly who these two people are and as to why she's always on here. You know, that was. But yeah, guys, like I said, thanks for having me on, and obviously chopping up with the rest of the panel and whatnot. Yeah, guys, Quay said, men, you gotta be men, become men and whatnot. So yeah, we gotta aspire to be that. And for ladies, you can see the lovely Miss Chloe here. She's married and whatnot. That's a beautiful example right there, and that's what we should aspire to achieve as a community.
Look, you got Quay smiling over there.
No, I was gonna say, I appreciate that, JR. And I said, I'm glad you came on, man. Let's see, you gave us a perspective from a quote unquote different generation or a different time, different place and time. You gave us a perspective, you know, coming from across the pond, I'll say. You know, just kind of letting us know that some of the things that we're experiencing over here in the West are going on over there as well. So like I said, that was enlightening for me. I appreciate all the compliments as well. But yeah, definitely come back and join us, man. Like I said, you're a great value add to the conversation, man, which I think it is needed. But yeah, just like I said, just to kind of circle it back, you know, as men, let's say we just got to move a certain way. We got to change the way that we're moving. And I think that's going to change the outcome and the results that we see. But yeah, let's say definitely, man, come check us out again, man. I'm glad you came on. I enjoyed you being on the show, man. And I said we'll be looking forward to you coming back for another one, man.
Yeah, thank you very much, boss. I appreciate it. Like, I just ask her, what days is it? Wednesdays, yeah?
Yeah, so we come on every Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, Eastern Standard over here every Wednesday night.
All right, so that'll be about my 2 a.m. here. So yeah, I'll make sure I keep it on my calendar. So yeah, you'll see me, boss.
All right, cool. Appreciate it,
All
man.
right,
Definitely come back and join us again, man.
Quay, thank you, yeah? Appreciate it.
All right, no doubt. Take it easy, man.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. All right, Joe, you want to say anything in closing, man?
I think, you know, JR sounds like me when I was a little younger. Very idealistic view of what he thinks women should be, how they should behave and act. He sees them how he wants to see them, but not the reality of who they are. And they are human beings. So it's not even a bad thing. It's just kind of like, you know, people are different shades of gray. We are not all sunshine and roses. And just because they say women are sugar and spice and everything nice, but sometimes they're kind of like shit. And that's kind of like, well, that's that's sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh my God!
You take the good with the bad, but you have to realize that it's also some things about yourself that women would notice about you, and about myself that I know about myself that I'm self-aware of. That's like, yeah, I'm not all good. Like we were born and raised in Detroit. We did some things. We saw some things. And it wasn't just, oh, they did this. It was you did some things too. You know, who do you sell drugs to in the hood? Who did you pull a knife out on? But you won't speak about it. Everyone has done, we all got skeletons in our closets, and we just look at women as these pristine creatures. But I have sisters and I've lived with them. They poop, they pee, and they bleed. So they're human. It's just we have to get rid of the rose-colored glasses situation going on, but that takes time and experience, especially you date a few of them, you've been around them, and even the supposedly the really good ones, the ones who are the proverbial good wives of the Bible. I mean, even they're going to have their issues, and they're just not going to be his idealistic view of things. I know he wasn't speaking of himself personally; he was saying generally. He's kind of like speaking collectively. He kept making that point, but it's him and his generation having this. It's this. I don't know. They've been fed a fantasy about women. It's like I was raised on Disney too, but it seems like they have social media, so it's gone beyond just princesses and fairy tales. And that's to Chloe's point about this whole soft guy era thing. I don't look. It's it is not a good look, like she said. It's just not. It's funny, but kind of in a sad way. Like it's it's kind of reminds me of like Joe Pesci in the Goodfellas movie. Is it how funny? Like funny in a clown way or funny how? Funny how? And they're like, no man, we just thought it was funny. It's like, yeah, I'll pull a gun out on you. You think it's that funny? Um, it's not funny. Like we laugh because it's kind of like, damn, like this is what it's come to. Men are supposed to be leading. We're supposed to be leading. It's actually supposed to be the women who are coming on to whatever the man is doing. It's supposed to be that, but it in a way trying to twist it. And I get the reason why they twist it because like, oh, if we play their game, like I said earlier, we can beat them at their own game. They made the game. You can never beat the creator at their own game, and that's what these women did. It's like we fell into their trap. They felt, well, not me speaking, but I can say, man, fell right into the trap. Oh, we wove a weave for you. Here we go. This the web. You see it. You see it. You don't see it. You see it. Yeah, we're going to go straight into it. We're going to play into it. We're going to try to escape from that same web that they wove. That doesn't work that way. We as men, as leaders, we're supposed to weave that web, and they're supposed to follow us. And I think a lot of men got kind of discouraged when they realized the women weren't following. So they said, well, we can't beat them, join them. And that is a massive mistake for the long term. But they'll learn that. Well, they might not learn it. I say they'll learn it. You hope they will. They probably won't. They're probably just going to get worse. It's going to become something like drizzle, and then it's going to get more insidious, and it's going to be more feminine. And before you know it, some of these guys are going to be turned out and don't even know how they got there. And then they're teaching their kids this stuff, their sons this stuff, and their sons this stuff. And it's like, you have women pointing to, see that guy, he's saying drizzle. You see, he's into it. Then it becomes a tagline for the little boys to say. So now they're looking at it just twists things. It's just like it's a poison that is going to grow and fester in itself and become worse. Right now, it's just a seed, but it's going to get worse. Oh, he came back. Beans. He dropped some real game. I really like.
We about to get out of here, man. Hold on, man. What's going on, man? Your audio's off right now, Beans. What's going on, man? We about to get out of here, man.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to come back and say really quickly, saw that y'all were ending. I was listening because the other panel that I'm on is kind of a back and forth between these two guys right now that I don't really care about. They're just arguing. So, but I saw you were doing final thoughts, and I just wanted to make sure I came back and said peace and everything. And then I heard what the brother was saying and then what the sister was saying. I want to make sure I said this right. So, like, again, I get that we are protective of women, but I think that's kind of the problem. But I think one of the biggest problems is that we don't realize just because Michael Jordan and LeBron and Oprah Winfrey exist does not mean we aren't still under subjugation in this country.
It's true.
Right? Like, so often I get called the victim Olympian because most of the time when I'm having these conversations on panels and I want to talk about why Black people are the way that they are, then everybody's, oh, he go with this bull, the boogeyman, and he go with this, racism and systemic oppression and all this other stuff. And it's like, look, yeah, I am right with you about acknowledging where we are. But I think we also have a duty to talk about how we got there. Because if we don't, then the information that gets spread out, the misinformation that gets spread out is that we are just innately this way. And those are the type of conversations that I'm usually having. It's like, okay, I agree with you. All this stuff that we say about our women, but is it innate or is it programming? Right? Is some of it innate? Yes. And women ought to learn how to suppress those innate desires to misbehave or to be egotistical or be selfish and think of themselves. They need to do that the same way we want men to do it, right? I had a conversation with a woman, Quay, not too long ago, and she said, all men are dogs and all men cheat. I said, well, let's say I agree with you. All men cheat. So if your man cheat on you, are you going to leave him? She said, yeah. I said, what you going to do after you leave him? I'm going to get another man. You don't realize how stupid you sound right now? You just said they all cheat. So why are you leaving one for another one? You're going to get the same thing. You're going to get the same result, right? So it's not whether or not I agree that all men cheat, because of course I don't, but it's you have to be willing to be more logical. And we pretend as if that is something that is asking too much of our women, right? No, they always want to make this argument. We the emotional ones. So you also want to be able to be firefighters and military and politicians. You want to be CEOs, and you can't do that being emotional. Right? You can't say I want equality, but then you want to draw the line where that equality stops. Equality is across the board. You can't say I want equality, but I want equality to be able to make as much money as I want, but I don't want to have to be responsible for anything. If I make 100,000, I want my man to make 101,000 just so I can say he makes more than me and he needs to pay all the bills. None of this is making any sense. The women have to accept that a lot of these thoughts that they are having is programming, and stop trying to hold on to it. These people meant to divide and conquer us. This was the lesson learned from the civil rights movement. Man, no matter what we do to these people, slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, KKK, it's like it doesn't matter. Whatever we do to these people, they keep trying. Why? Why must you persist? Because we love each other. And now we don't love each other. And look where it's getting us. So we just, I'm all for having a conversation about the men. If y'all want to do that, I'm down with that. But it's just my opinion, man. If our women just decide, no more. You can't use us anymore against our people. We're not going to let you destroy our babies in our wombs. We're not going to let you destroy our babies as we raise them. We're not going to hate the very men that we gave birth to, and that we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to set a standard for ourselves, and we're going to move as such. I think everything will get in line with that. There was a specific power that women have, and they are the muses of the world, and they are beautiful, just like the sister up here. You can look at her and kind of tell that she's married, right? Just off the way that she looked. You don't see the crazy makeup. You don't see the crazy lashes. You don't see the goofy weave. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And we just need more of that. But man, super dope panel. I'm going to be respectful and get back to these guys. We over here talking about this Christian versus Israelite stuff. So it's kind of cute, but at the same time, it's kind of boring.
I understand that conversation, man. But I'm going to say this real quick, Beans, before I let
definitely
you go.
Salute to you.
I'm gonna say this real quick, man. So the one thing I will say is I do disagree with the one point you made about us not loving each other. So I still think that black men and black women still love each other. I think that's why we go so hard in these YouTube streets and these Facebook streets. I think that's what is behind all of this sprinkling and drizzling and all this nonsense that's going on. We still love each other, but I think part of the problem is we want to control each other. And we don't want to sit down and have a conversation. And then additionally, we don't want to play our natural positions. Yeah, see, you bring up a good point. Yeah, there's a lot of picking and choosing going on in there. Yeah, we want to, like you said, we want to have, have these certain jobs and so forth, but then we don't want the responsibility that comes with it, right? So we got all this picking and choosing that's going on in there, right? So we don't want to own the whole process. Yeah, we want to be in these relationships, but then we only want to do certain things in the relationship. Yeah, we want to go work, but then we don't want to cook and clean, but then we don't want to do this, but then we don't. So we got all of this picking and choosing going on in there, right? And for me, that's people not wanting to play or not wanting to live in their natural positions. Yeah, but I think at the root of all of these things that we see, that's what it is. We out of balance. Yeah, men and women are out of balance, and we're not in our natural positions, and that is why we see the fallout that we see out here today. But I'm glad you came back, man. I'm glad you came back. Like I said, you definitely got to come back on a Wednesday night, man, because I said I could tell you a good value add. Like I said, we probably be going at it. So You got to come back, man. You got to come back. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. But, man, we got to get on up out of here, man. Like I said, this is Kandid Konvos. I'm just going to be quiet. We got to go. This Kandid Konvos, man. We do this show every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We go live on YouTube and Facebook. Everybody watching right now, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Likes are free. Hit that like button for us. Hit that share as well. Hit that share as well. See, Mark Kendall says, set a president, Quay. No, that's what it is. Your fellas got to set the tone. They got to level up, become the best version of themselves, or at least work to that point to become the best version of yourself. And then what you are seeking will come your way. And if folks don't make the cut, they just don't make the cut. But, man, with that being said, everybody have an awesome night, and we will catch you guys next Wednesday.